Hello, YTPC. Ethan, Parsimonious Piper here. Today we're doing a new presenter interview with Bob from Smartiebob. Good afternoon, Bob. How are you?
I'm doing fine. How are you doing?
I am doing great. Well, Bob is inside and not smoking today, but I'll tell you, in this little Pipe by Lee Prince, I am smoking some Cornell and Deal Burley number 3. If you almost like Old Joe Krantz, but it seems a little strong, Burley number 3 is just a bit softer, even though it has a little more Kentucky flavor. Give it a try. Well, Bob, so tell us about yourself, where you live, what you do. Do you have any, weird pets, lizards, snakes, anything like that?
Okay, I'm in central Indiana, born and raised right here, just west of Indianapolis a little bit. I'm 75 years old. I worked at the airport for 38 years for an airline. Went through several mergers and actually retired from that airline company in 2001 after the 9/11 incident kind of shut us all down. Then, but during that time, I farmed some. I used to rent about 800 acres and did farming. After I drove an over-the-road truck for a while. Most of my life, I've usually had 2 jobs going at a time, which has been a great expense. It's been an expense on an old body. But other than that, I sold the farm in 2015, built this house here. I actually live in a golf club community, golf course right here out to my back door, and built it in 2015 and got away from the farming, and now I'm just retired.
So are you an avid golfer, or do you just enjoy watching people whack little white balls around other people's backyards?
Well, I got a lot of balls in my backyard. No, years ago, I golfed a little bit. The company I worked for, they had a golf club and we golfed. And then when I moved here, I did pick it up a little bit for a couple of years. I do have some knee problems. I had a total knee replacement. In fact, I've had it done twice. First time wasn't so good. The second time is not really good, but I gave up golfing about 3 years ago. But I got a lot of balls around here.
Okay, you were a farmer. What did you grow?
Well, I grew corn and soybeans and wheat and oats, typical Midwest type crops. I raised about 200 head of cattle a year and about 400 head of hogs. I had a feeding floor operation with silos.
Wow.
So we would grow the hay, cut the hay, and blow it up into the silos. It was kind of a silo operation. It was during that time that I was renting that ground from a farmer, and he was an elderly guy that he used to smoke Falcon pipe, and he'd keep the Falcon pipe up in his bibs, and when we'd do chores or plowing or whatever we was doing, about every 2 or 3 hours, he'd get the pipe out and pack it and put it in and smoke it, and it'd last about 20, 30 minutes. He'd hit it on a shoe and, keep on going. So at that time, I never got a Falcon pipe, but it always worked for him very well.
Now, was that just your introduction to Falcons, or is that what got you into piping?
No, actually, I started smoking a pipe a few years before that when I was in college. You know how those college kids got to try everything. But I never got into it really. I just tried it, and I had a couple pipes. And then when I got with him, I started smoking a little bit. But then I only smoked that pipe maybe a year or two. And then my job changed where I used to work. Or where I worked, my job changed, and I went inside, and I was inside most of the time, and didn't get out and didn't get a chance to smoke the pipe, and worked a lot of overtime, was very busy, and it's just something I just put down and didn't pick up until May of this year.
So you dabbled in it years ago. What got you interested in getting back into it?
Well, it's interesting. My daughter, she smoked cigarettes a lot, and she really had a cigarette habit, and I'd like to get her away from that caffeine. I mean, nicotine. So what I did was I got her interested into vaping, and through the vaping community, and I got her away from the cigarettes. So now she does vape, and then I would go online and watch the vaping community. You know, they got YouTube videos online, and then
Right.
through that, I started watching the smokers, the pipe smokers. And I thought, gee, that was a good experience back in the day, and maybe I ought to buy a corncob pipe and pick it up. And so I did.
So a corn cob is what got you back into it?
Right, right. I just picked up the cheapest corncob pipe I could, I think, from Aristo Cobb or one of those places, and for $5 or $6, and tried it, and it was pretty good. So I thought, well, gee, I'll see what I do. Then, of course, I started watching the videos.
I like cobs myself. They're hard to beat, I think, particularly for some blends like, burley blends, codger blends. I just love those in a cob. What have you developed a taste for a particular carver or brand?
Well, not really. I guess I'm still experimenting. I do have about 6 cobs. I got 3 meerschaums. I got 3 briars. And what I have found out is, depending on the tobacco smokes different in different pipes. So there are tobaccos that smoke better in my cobs than do my briars, and vice versa. And of course, my real favorite is the meerschaum. The meerschaum doesn't ghost, and everything tastes, to me, it's pure. The tobacco has its most pure taste in the meerschaum, and really liked it. I bought a cheap meerschaum online. It was actually a small bow meerschaum, which I was disappointed when I first got it. But I went on ahead and packed it and tried it, and it smoked really well, and I really enjoyed it. I smoked that thing every day for like 60 days. Of course, it got turning all dark brown. It was as brown as any tobacco you'd ever seen. But I was cleaning it out and put too much pressure on a bowl, and I broke it.
Ah.
It was actually my favorite pipe. Really give me the best smoke and all tobaccos. And I do have 2 other meerschaums now, but they don't smoke as well as that little one. I mean, they still smoke like a meerschaum, but I went on ahead and thought, well, I'll get a bigger bowl. And so I did, and it's a bigger pipe and bigger footprint in your mouth, and it's just not as comfortable as that old little one.
Yeah, I've got a little, like, here's my prints. I've got a little meerschaum billiard that's only maybe a little taller than this, narrow little bowl. It's a great tasting pipe.
Yes.
Right.
Right.
When I want to get a feel for a new blend, it's a fantastic little pipe, nothing fancy. And
right.
I think it's pressed meerschaum, so I don't think it's ever going to really color up, except that the rim's blackened. I don't think the rest of it's ever going to really color, but it smokes well.
Yeah. Well, if you smoke it every day for about 30 days, it'll probably color up some.
It may. So you've got 3, you said 6 briars, and you had the 3 meerschaums minus the one you broke. Have you started getting a feel for a favorite shape, or are you all over the board?
I'm all over the board. In fact, sometimes it's the mood you're in. Sometimes I'll go out and just want to sit down, and I can sit and hold my pipe. And other times I actually, contrary to a lot of users you see on here, is I'll pack a small pipe, like a straight cob, and pack it and go out and light it up, and I'll work in the grass, or work in the yard, or work in my garage. I'll sit and puff it while I'm working. To me, that's very enjoyable to actually smoke while I'm working. Where there's a lot of other people that think they got to, or feel, they feel they got to go out and they got to be quiet and sit down and smoke their pipe and just enjoy the pipe and just enjoy the tobacco. And there are times that I do that also.
Now, see, it's interesting you bring that up because I do like the contemplative times, but I also have a couple of cobs that I will fill with a cube cut burley or a codger blend when I go out to cut the grass. And that's just great. It
Right. Right.
takes my mind off of the sheer boredom of cutting grass.
Right. Right. So I actually enjoy that.
What are your favorite blends or styles?
Well, my age, 75 years old, I suffer from that disease, CRS disease. And I've tried a lot of different blends, a lot of different tobaccos. And what I smoked last week and liked, I forgot the name of it this week. Nah, not really. I seem to like the Burleys. I'm not educated and experienced enough to know all the names of all the blends. My favorite right now is a Cornell and Deal's. I think it's called Apple Vanilla or Apple Cream, one of those, and it is really good. It's very dark. It's almost black. And when I got it, I thought, well, I'll order some of that and I'll mix it in with some others, with some lighter blends and come up with something that won't be so strong. I don't necessarily want something to really bite or really be strong. So, but anyhow, when I got it, boy, it was black. And I thought, well, I'll put it in this meerschaum and smoke it and see what it tastes like by itself. And it was so pleasant, so smooth, so gentle. It surprised me so much. It's actually my favorite right now.
That is interesting. I don't know that many people who pick up an aromatic like that and just automatically that's their favorite. That's right. Interesting. So what got you into watching the YTPC videos, and what convinced you recently to start making videos?
First of all, like I say, I was watching the vaping videos and happened to link over to some pipe smoking videos and got interested in it. But watching the YouTube pipe community, there's such a great bunch of guys that have a similar interest. If you stop and think about it, that community bridges barriers, countries, languages, all races, religions. It bridges everything and brings men together so they can communicate on a particular subject that they all share in common. And they have problems with, and they have, non-problems with, and they got favorites and non-favorites. And it's just a very good place to communicate with people. So I thought it was great. Then I started watching it. And if you take a look at my Smartiebob channel, I think I got 4 videos on there now, maybe 5. But then you take a look at it and you'll see that there's one video on there that's 10 or 12 years old. It's a long time ago when I recorded my granddaughter. That's back when I was on the farm, and recorded my granddaughter, and she was dancing back behind me in the room. And I thought, well, I'll record her. And I recorded her on YouTube. So I recorded on YouTube and I posted it on there. Now it's still on there. And she's just a little girl dancing at the time. She's now a sophomore in college, going to be a nurse. Yeah, so many years ago. So you'll see my one video is about 10 or 12 years old, and the rest of them's new. But anyhow, I thought, gee, a lot of people are doing this. I think I can do it. So I just picked up my phone and did it. Now, I'm not a good presenter. I know that I need to sit down with a script, and I don't. All my videos are just me turning on the camera and just start talking. So I don't have a script. I need to improve that. I also am not the best at computers and recording the videos. And at first on your phone, I didn't even know how to pause my phone, or if I was wearing a shirt or have words, they would be backwards. I now know you can flip that. Right. So I'll get better, but it was just something I thought I could do. So I did one, and a few people looked at it, and I thought, well, I'll do another one.
Well, I'm glad you did. I have enjoyed meeting these. I think you're the sixth new presenter that I'm interviewing, and I'm having a blast doing this. Getting to see, well, especially guys like you. You've got more pipe smoking experience maybe than I do. I've only been at this a couple of years, but it's great getting to see new people in the community. And like you said, we all have different politics, different religions, different cultures, and we can civilly disagree and discuss those. I like that. I just really do. I don't have a local bar to hang out with, and I probably wouldn't even if I did. But this is kind of the watering hole where we can do what men used to do and bang ideas off of each other.
You're exactly right. Now I am lucky. Of course, I live in a little, very small town, just west of Indianapolis. But the town right east of me, they do have a bar. They got one of the state's largest. It's a cigar and pipe bar, and they got one of the largest humidors there. And they do have a pipe club meeting the first Monday of every month. And I went to a few of them, and I go there, and there's a lot of local guys there, and they talk pipes and all this stuff. And it is a community. And of course, the meeting's only an hour and a half, 2 hours long. But the individual personalities you meet on the YouTube pipe community it's just amazing. In fact, some of those videos you have, I get such a kick out of. I sit and laugh. I'm laughing with you, not at you. I laugh at some of those guys.
Either way, if you're watching, I'm happy.
right. I know it. When I started, I wanted to, when I first started making the video, I thought, well, how can I do a video and not be offensive? How can you just share what I want to share and not come across wrong? Or it's so easy to be misinformed. So anyhow, I wrote a letter, and I'd like to share it just a little bit with you to another presenter. And my question was to him was, I was interested in start a video, and did he have any things, any suggestions, and should I talk about this or this? So anyhow, the letter goes, and it's real short, and I'll cut some of it out. Hello, Bob. Thank you for this humble, well-thought email. All I can tell you is how I personally handle this. I will tell you that my father was a preacher, and I've mentioned this on occasion, and it's a major part of my past, but I will not be making any religious statements. I have a strong political opinion, but I will not be sharing any of those. I have drama in my life, but I will also keep that private. This is how I choose to handle things online. That being said, others may choose to express their feelings on these matters, drama, religion, politics, and that's their choice. It's also their life and their channel. If they choose to make a content, we then in turn have the choice to view it or not view it. And it goes on and on and on. It goes, and he ends it up. We can't control others. We can only control ourselves. You choose the types of people for content that you want to watch, and those you want to avoid. You can make those choices privately while still being a major part of the online community and showing love to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
This is a great guy on there. I'm sure you know him. Everybody knows him, but he's really smart. Got a lot of good advice. So anyhow, by putting the videos and watching the videos, I get a lot of friendship, a lot of community.
Yeah, I know I have too, especially this last year and a half until recently when everything was locked down and we weren't seeing people, and our local pipe club stopped meeting, and they haven't actually started back up again yet. Yeah, being able to meet online, it's just been fantastic. Right.
Well, I'm glad you had a local pipe club, and maybe they'll get starting here soon.
I hope so.
Yeah, I hate the lockdown, but I think like lots of things in life, the lockdown has created some problems for us, but it also, and it's brought out the worst in some people, and it's brought out the best in other people.
Yeah.
And I think the YouTube pipe community shows how it brings out the best in people.
I think so too. I do. So now thinking of you starting up, how did you come up with your channel name?
Well, long time ago. First of all, I'm an old guy. I was on computers before they had the internet and everything like that. And our first communication was called Internet Relay Chat, IRC.
Yep.
And I had a channel there. And my name on that channel was Front Duck. And that was my name. So I almost chose the name of Front Duck Piper. And at that time, people used to say, well, why would you use Front Duck? Well, I says, well, if you stop and think about it, if you're in the flock of ducks, the guy in front has the best view and the best smell. So I chose that. Anyhow, back when our society went through another gas panic and we thought we was going to raise prices, the Mercedes-Benz people came out with a smart car. And those smart cars, that's back when our cars were getting 15, 16, 18 miles per gallon. But the smart car they came out with got 50 miles per gallon. So I went on ahead and ordered one and got one. And everybody made fun of me for driving. I'm a big guy. And everybody made fun of me for driving that little smart car because it looked like when Bob pulled up, he got out of this tin can. And so anyhow, people started calling me Smartiebob. So that's how I got that name.
That is fantastic. Yeah, you basically had to unfold yourself out of it.
Well, that'd be another video. The smart cars actually got a very wide door to it. In fact, if you take a look at a smart car, the whole side of the car is about the door. So when you open that door and get in and out of it, it's as big as any van door you've ever got in and out of. The only problem I had with the smart cars I would have now if I had it, I only kept it a couple of years. The price of gas went down. And so it did set low. So you had to get down into it. It didn't set up.
Yeah, that's my little Miata is that way. I'm only 5'10", so right. It's not quite so bad, but I'm at about the upper limit of height for that thing.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm a little taller. I'm a little over 6'1".
Yeah, I've got a coworker who's 6'4" who rode with me one time, and I had to pop the top, and he was looking over the windshield. So, yeah, not really a car for you tall guys.
Yeah. So anyhow, that Smartiebob name just stuck, and I thought, well, gee, I'll just use it.
Yeah. No, that's pretty cool. I was that back in the 70s gas crisis or the 90s?
I think we're talking about 80s.
Okay.
I was trying to remember when that smart car came out. Maybe
I'm going to have to look it up just out of curiosity. I'll have to do that.
Well, the smart car wasn't a new phenomenon. It was actually manufactured abroad and in a lot of other countries. And then when we started having the spikes here, Mercedes decided to bring it over here. I have a local Mercedes dealership in Indianapolis. And so I went in there and saw the smart cars. I didn't go in there looking for a smart car, but I went in there and saw them. And boy, the idea looked good.
Well, hello, folks. Technical difficulties once more. I think my internet connection dropped in the middle of our call. Not sure exactly where we were. What are your other non-piping interests, hobbies? What do you do?
Well, I have a dog that's a miniature schnauzer. She takes care of a lot of my time. Like I tell people, she's my best friend. In my younger days, I was into sports. In high school, I played all three sports. Due to my size, I was going to be a football player and actually had a scholarship lined up to a pretty good school. And my senior year, we used to play 10 games back then. In my 7th game of my senior year, I injured my that ligament, that cartilage. And back then, when you got that, they put you in the hospital and they snipped that off and they said you'll never play sports again. Now, about 2 or 3 years after that, they take that back and they stretch that back and they sew it back. And then 6, 8 weeks later, the guy's up and running, and within 6 months, he's playing sports again.
Yeah, it's amazing what they can do now.
Yeah, right. So anyhow, I do follow sports and pay attention to sports a lot, but I'm not crazy about it.
Mm.
Well, so
I was a terrible athlete. I loved playing football. I just wasn't very good at it. Grew up all over the South, but spent some years in Alabama. So you've probably seen some of my Bama gear. Kudos to Texas A&M. Well-deserved win this weekend. We're going to have to fight back, but yeah, I'm a rabid Alabama fan. Other than that, I'm not that much into sports until the basketball tournament comes around, and I watch that.
Right.
That's a lot of fun.
Right.
But well, that is interesting. For those of you who are not sports fans, all three sports would be basketball, football, and baseball, I'm guessing.
Yes.
Good. You didn't sound, much like a tennis player or, that kind of thing. Maybe track, shot put or something like that if you're being a big guy. But those are the three sports that are pretty big in the Midwest.
Yes.
And so is the miniature schnauzer the one that photobombed us earlier? She came walking through. Okay. Yeah.
If a camera is on, that dog's going to get in it for some reason. In fact, if you watch that earlier video I talked about with my granddaughter 10 or 15 years ago, that dog keeps going in and out of that video. I don't know, but you just take a camera out, and for some reason you take a camera and you don't even know it, and you look at those pictures later and you say, oh, that dog was in that picture.
Yeah, they are funny critters.
Yes.
Well, we probably ought to wrap this up. Do you have any parting words for the YTPC?
Don't have any parting words other than I want to thank all the people that participate in it. I love to watch the videos, and the fellowship and the camaraderie is great. Just a bunch of great guys, and I'm actually happy to be able to see this venue that allows men all over the world that have a common interest get together and share.
It is wonderful, isn't it?
That's right.
Well, folks, with that, I'll tell you what I tell you all the time. Light something you like. Maybe meet somebody new. Enjoy your afternoon.
Happy piping.